things are popping up all over the place, but it's like gas station, emergency room.
And there could be like two
CVS,
there could be
7-Eleven.
two like in the same parking lot. It seems like.
The resulting bills from freestanding emergency rooms, as they are called, that have you asking a lot of questions.
Consumer reporter Steve Noviello is here. Good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning to you guys. You know, the first thing to explain is, of course, this emergency room idea. It's not just a clever marketing name for an urgent care clinic. If you see the words emergency room, understand that's exactly what you're walking into, even if it's not attached to a hospital. In fact, here in Texas, state law requires these medical centers to use the words emergency room in their names so consumers understand what they're getting into. And yet, as many as 65% of you are choosing wrong. That's how many cases are being treated at freestanding ERs that are not life-threatening and should be treated at urgent care centers. So what happens? You go in, you think you're walking into an urgent care clinic, you accept treatment, and then you get the bill, charged at the emergency room rate when you didn't have an emergency situation. I want you guys to take a look at this graphic. A side-by-side comparison. One condition, strep throat, same course of treatment, but two very different prices. See the bottom?
Whoa.
A couple of $100 at an urgent care, several $1,000s at a freestanding ER. So how does that happen? Well, first, freestanding ERs charge a facility fee and a professional office visit fee, which honestly could be 80% of the massive difference in the bill. Then look at the labs. Generally cost more at an ER. Medicine also costs more at an ER, both to administer and just simply to supply. Note, freestanding ERs or ER departments are free to charge urgent care rates if it's determined the patient didn't need the emergency room. But that, of course, almost never happens.
Right.
The graphic was supplied to us, by the way, by North Texas-based Legacy ER and Urgent Care. Now, they've got a new model. They've got a hybrid in the market that says they house both kinds of medical centers in one office. They say it completely removes the guesswork from the equation because patients can show up to one place and the doctors will direct their care as urgent or emergency based on their evaluation.
So you'd walk in, for example, with that strep throat and be greeted and say, what's the problem? Well, I got a sore throat. Go that way.
Right.
You're going to get this level of care, and it's going to cost a lot less.
Right.
You walk in and say, well, part of my arm has been severed. Oh, go that way.
Yes.
Take your arm and drag it that way.
And of course, the natural question is people are thinking, okay, well, but if the doctors are owning these places and they're going to make more money from the emergency care, why wouldn't they just shuffle everybody that way? I asked the exact same thing. I'm told that in the hybrid model, more than 80% of patients who walk in the door are actually treated as urgent care. So while everyone may think they have an emergency, the reality is most of us don't. So having both of these facilities on site, they say removes the variable of choosing wrong.
Okay, what about if you have like Medicare or Medicaid?
You know, last hour we talked about insurance and Medicare and Medicaid, very important here. So in general, Medicare does not recognize freestanding ERs and will not reimburse them for ER services. So these places don't take Medicare or Medicaid. Now there is one exception. A freestanding emergency room, which is actually a satellite of a hospital. So some of these things you'll see, you know, Baylor may have one of these or Presby may have one of these. That isn't just an independent freestanding ER. Those are recognized and therefore eligible for reimbursement. And just like a hospital ER, anybody with an acute problem will be cared for when they walk in the door of any of these centers.
They will get the care.
It might come at a price, though.
also
Best
get
to
the bill.
ask ahead when you walk in.
Absolutely, because again, the difference could be huge.
Gosh.
Not only in that copay, which I know for us, I think it's $100 at the ER, 20 or $30 at the clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not off to a very good start if you don't require that emergency treatment.
All right. Check it
Thank
out
you,
beforehand.
Steve.
You got one in your
No
neighborhood?
kidding.
Go find out.
That's a good
Check with
idea.
your insurance
Chances are
company.
Do
you
it
have
now
one.
while you don't need it.
Yep.
Check it out.
Yeah, exactly.